Welcome to Boundaries Talk, Part 2. First part, we talked about how boundaries are good, important, healthy, necessary, loved by God. And the second part is that our emotions reveal us to ourselves. And listening to them can teach us how we can move forward in our relationships. Part of what we're doing here too is some of my spirituality is influenced by St. Ignatius of Loyola. And he had 3 simple steps. Was awareness, understanding, action. I think awareness is always a gift. That even though some people are like, well, I don't, recently one of my friends was out of town and his father passed away and his wife was like, I don't know if I should tell him. And so I just said, what would you want if you were in that situation? She's like, I'd want to know. I was like, yeah. Even though awareness of unpleasant things is unpleasant, it's actually a grace because now I know and now I can do something about it. Like I think all those feelings I felt for years, I didn't know what to do about it. And so I kind of like subconsciously just like blocked it off. But as I became aware of it, it's like, what do I do with this? Well then, you go to a counselor. I went to a counselor, you go to a spiritual director, you go to a journal. Obviously you go to prayer first and foremost. And so as I become aware, I just ponder it, like what's going on there. So you kind of ponder it. I don't go digging. You don't need to go digging. We hide things subconsciously for a reason, so let God reveal them in His proper time, in the perfect timing. And so I take what I'm aware of and I bring it to the Lord and I ask for His light. Maybe I bring it to a mentor, a counselor, and whatever my understanding is. We're never going to have full understanding, right? We always see dimly as in a mirror until we see Him face to face, right? And so we're not going to have full understanding. It's okay. We don't have to. I don't have to fully understand. But with what I do understand, how am I being invited by the Lord to act on it? And so that's what we're held accountable. We're not held accountable for things we don't know. But with what I do know, how am I being invited to act in charity and courage and loving for myself and others? So this is where, again, a mentor can be really helpful. Like, I became aware of this, I don't know I'm trying to understand this, and I'm thinking about doing this action. I'm thinking about confronting this person. I'm thinking about telling my mom all the things that I hated about growing up. Or it's like, you could do that. However, I think maybe we want to, just step back for a second, take it to prayer, talk to a mentor, and then I always think we should talk to God, talk to a mentor before we ever talk to someone where we're having a difficult conversation. Difficult conversation is very important, but doing it in this way, it kind of peels off the harsh emotion and the abrasiveness, where we're going to be in a much better, calmer place when we enter into that conversation. So what am I saying here? I'm also saying that that what you feel, what I feel, is valid and important, and it deserves to be said, right? And so the question is, well, who wants to listen to it? Well, first and foremost, God, maybe mentors. I think it's good for us to listen to ourselves. I think so often we have intuition and senses, and then we dismiss it. And so part of growing in boundaries is recognizing that what I'm experiencing is valid, and I actually get to act on that. Does that mean that other people have to listen? No. Nobody has to listen to us. But I do think there's people that want to. How do we know if somebody wants to listen to us? I think we ask. Very often I'll be even in confession and conversations, and I'll say, I have some thoughts. Would you like to hear my thoughts on that? And almost always people are like, yeah. But sometimes they'll just keep talking, which means they actually don't want to listen, And so that's okay. If you're not going to listen, I'm going to wait and share with somebody who wants to. I'm not going to waste my words. And so, but then they'll say, yeah, I want to listen. Well, now I know they're listening, and they just chose to listen, and so I can kind of open that up. And so I might say to somebody, hey, let's say I have an issue. Like I notice I'm angry about something, and I'm like, this is going to be really hard, and I don't know how it's going to go, and I don't want this to hurt our friendship. I start with something like this. Hey, there's something that's been bothering me, and I'd like to be able to share it with you if you're open to hearing it. Like, almost always, friends are going to say, yeah, and they're going to lean in, and they're going to be like, I want to know what's bothering you. And then how I share, kind of a 4-step thing. what you're sharing again is where I'm coming from. So maybe there's an observation of, hey, I noticed this, or this has been happening, and I feel, so I noticed this, I feel hurt. The third thing that's really important is an affirmation, which is the only time you say the word you when you're addressing something like a conflict. You say, you've been a great friend. I know you also want to have a good apartment here together as we live together. And then I say, my hope. I hope we can talk about this and find a way that both of us can be happy here in this situation. So observation, I noticed. Feeling, I feel. Affirmation, you are good. And fourth is a hope. I hope going forward this can happen. So that's a whole shotgun of boundary stuff, Beth.
That was unbelievable. You gave me multiple step processes, and I wish I had a piece of paper.